Hello everyone. So today Alpha 6 came out and I pretty much had the whole morning to play it. So I had about 8 hours straight put into Alpha 6. So this is I guess my kind of first impressions and my thoughts on the patch and how I feel about certain changes. Um, so first off, they had an update to the engine which has a whole bunch of cool features and tweaks that they did. The whole list is over here, but it's a whole bunch of small stuff. Um, to the general engine. The biggest thing in this patch were the 50 cals. I thought the 50 cals were done really well. The level of detail is pretty outstanding. The sound is incredible. Like when you hear one of those 50 cals going off, it's crazy. It really puts you in really gets that immersive feel going. So I think they did a really good job with the general feel of the 50 cals. However, they did limit it to 3 per fob, and the amount of time it takes to get the points to build one of these currently is kind of long for me. I personally feel like these could be built a little bit faster if the points were a little faster to count up, because I don't know, maybe we just have to get used to learning how to play and build these, but waiting for 500 points to create these seems a little bit extreme considering how in that time you're waiting to build your first 50 cal, you pretty much can't build anything else. So I don't know. I'm sure they'll figure out a way to tweak this properly and make it so that you can build up other defenses and then maybe plop down the 50 cal eventually. I don't know. We'll see. Um, but yeah, overall I think it's really well balanced. Its field of fire is pretty limited, so you can flank these things and you can destroy them with HE and RPGs and stuff like that. So I think it's pretty balanced. I like the feel of them. The detail's amazing. It's just the deployment of them that is, I think, going through a couple issues right now. The new map is beautiful. It has a kind of, if you've ever played Arma, it has a kind of Chernarus and Essaker feel to it. So it's got this like woodlandy, open plains kind of farmland kind of deal going on, and it's just an incredible map. It's beautiful, all the trees, seeing the sun filter through the trees. It's an incredible map. The only issue is that with all those trees and all this detail, the frame rate on this map is pretty low. Like even for me, um, I was having some difficulties enjoying this map simply because of the frame rate. And I'm sure they'll fix that. I'm sure they'll increase they'll change something, and as the game progresses we'll get better performance out of our cards. But I think that this map definitely has huge potential once the FPS issues are fixed. But yeah, just a beautiful map. It's got this like farmland, wilderness, woodlands feel to it. Not like Fool's Road. Fool's Road is kind of like a forest. This is more woodlandy to me. It feels more like a natural kind of area. So moving on to the next map update was Sumari. Sumari, I think Sumari is now my favorite map. Just the general feel of it, it's just an outstanding map. The layout of the points was incredible. So basically US has this area and the insurgents have this area, and when I was playing on this map, it just felt like like you were actually sieging a city, because you had to try to get across these bridges and get onto this little tiny stretch of land that was locked down by the insurgents, and it just really felt like you were sieging a city. And they pretty much expanded the map about 3 times its original size. So Sumari is actually a legitimate map at this point in time, and I really do feel like it's going to be one of the best maps out there. So yeah, it just feels like you're sieging this city, and this river and these bridges just create an amazing environment for like firefights over control over the streets. I've yet to play Insurgency on Sumari. They did add Insurgency on Sumari. I have not played this yet. I'm very eager to play this. Okay, map update, Fool's Road tunnels. I had a blast in the frickin' tunnels. I'm going to be uploading a clip of a highlight from my stream where I was playing in the tunnels, but it's got this creepy feeling to it. It's dark, it's dank. You have to check the corners, that you got players running around. It's not like a camping fest like you might think it would be. It's just this creepy maze of a place that you have to kind of root out the enemy players, and you're just sneaking around, and It's got a really nice feel to it. I think it's an outstanding job that they did on the tunnels. The updated water and foliage interactions. So what they mean by this is the water interactions. When you shoot into the water, you have splashes come up now. When you throw a frag in the water, there's a big spout of water that pops out and shoots up. And then the foliage, and that interaction is really cool. It's a lot better than, you know, the glass water that we had before, where like it literally did nothing. It just was a texture. The foliage is amazing now, but I think it's still not implemented on most of the maps. I think it's limited. It's implemented on a limited scale, so like only on certain maps and only in certain areas on those maps. But basically, that's like the bending of foliage as you walk by, like brushes and like walking in fields. So basically, you'll be able to see players sneaking around in the fields and in the grass a lot easier, rather than now where you can basically prone through a whole field and the grass won't move. General performance improvements. Now, there's a lot of interesting information about this. So currently, I felt like I had a hit to performance, and word on the street is that that's because of the new shadow system that they have in place. So I have no doubt that they'll fix that and they'll get our performance back. But there was a hit to Intel, I think Intel users, but there was an increase on AMD performance. So there's an increase to AMD and a decrease to Intel users. Archon support for server, so that's basically for server hosts. They now support Archon stuff, so that's good for them. And then the founder skins are now in game. So you know the Desert M4 skins are in game, so that's pretty cool. I wish I had founded this game so I could have gotten the skins, but I got in too late. But yeah, the skins are really cool. It's cool to see that they're implementing stuff that they said they would in the Kickstarter. A couple gameplay changes. So deployables can no longer be stacked on top of each other. I noticed this a lot when I was building fobs today. You can no longer like double stack sandbags to kind of like give you that extra height. So I think HESCO walls will come a lot more into play now because you can't double stack sandbags. To me, double stacking sandbags was a really important part of the fob building process because it prevented the enemy from jumping up onto the other side. For example, with the HESCO wall, you can jump onto either side of the HESCO wall and shoot over. But you can't do that with a sandbag wall. It's just a straight wall. They decreased the construction and ammo point income. Now, I think they decreased it in preparation for the 50 cals to prevent the 50 cal spam. But I think it's a little too extreme. Because while you're waiting to build a 50 cal, you can't really build anything else. So maybe they'll figure something out or tweak this a little bit. Or maybe players will just get used to it. I don't know. We'll see. Increased time necessary to take down a friendly fob. Didn't really experience this too much. Didn't really have to take down any of my own fobs. Tweaked recoil. Okay, so this is interesting. They decreased the recoil, I feel like, for the AKs and for the M4 ACOG. The M4 ACOG is amazing now. There still is an inaccuracy issue at long ranges. Like the bullet will kind of vary from the left or the right depending on how far the target is. And then but you can now go full auto on the M4 at close range and it won't completely jack your rifle into the sky. So the M4 change is really amazing. The AK to me feels a lot more accurate. It feels less powerful, but it feels a lot more accurate. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe because what they also did with the weapons dispatch was change the sounds. I personally like the AK sounds, but I don't like the M4 sounds. A lot of people are, you know, all over the place on that. Like, people don't like the weapon sounds at all. People like all the weapon sounds. So it's back and forth. I'm sure they'll come to a consensus, and we'll figure that out. Stamina now stops recharging. So there's a glitch where you could jump and regain stamina while moving. So they got rid of that. They put a ticket count on the insurgent side now so that you don't feel like it's an endless wave of insurgents and insurgents feel like there's no value in their lives and they can just do whatever they want. There's actually some kind of pressure to utilize each life properly now in insurgency. They tweaked that, the minimum arming distance. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then, yeah, the recoil on the ACOGs. So yeah, overall, this was a really solid patch. I'm really happy to see that they're adding a good amount of content every patch. regardless of if there's issues in them. The main issue, I think, right now, being an early access game, is keeping content going out, regardless of if there's issues with that content, because that can always be fixed. But creating that content for the beta testers to test, or the alpha testers to test in early access, is pretty crucial. And they're doing a really good job. They're putting out tons of content. The fact that the 50 cals were released now, they're basically vehicles that don't move. So I would expect vehicles to come out this summer, hopefully. That might be a stretch, but yeah, I'd say we could expect vehicles this summer, especially with how well the 50 cals were implemented. The main issues right now, currently with this patch, are just the FPS issues. So yeah, they changed the SVD sound as well as the M4 and AK sounds. The SVD sound is actually a sound I really like right now. Alright, yeah, and that's pretty much it for this patch. Basically a huge content increase, map updates, a whole new map, and I think they're doing a great job with the content. They just need to, you know, tweak the FPS performance issues, fix that, and I'm sure they will. And yeah, apart from those fixes, they're looking really solid right now, and I'm really happy with this patch. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.